were murdered in a Phoenix park.
We first told you about Zariah Dodd last week. Now, 2 suspects in that case have officially been charged. 36-year-old Jarrell Davis and 18-year-old Jacree James Gillett are each facing murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and obstruction charges. Davis is also facing gun charges as well as sexual misconduct charges because police say that he impregnated the teen.
On the night of July 4th, 2025, a 16-year-old pregnant girl named Zariah Finley Dodd walked out of group home in Surprise, Arizona, and vanished into the darkness. Hours later, her body was found face down in a Phoenix park, a single gunshot wound to her head. But this wasn't just another tragic headline. Zariah was 22 weeks pregnant, and the man accused of orchestrating her murder was the father of her unborn child, a 36-year-old with a history of preying on vulnerable girls in state custody. By the time police identified her body, the suspect had already exchanged photos of her corpse, taunting investigators before they even knew her name. Welcome to Crime Lab Report, where the darkest crimes meet the light of justice. I'm your host, and today we're diving into a case so horrifying, so sit back and prepare yourself, because what you're about to hear will haunt you long after this video ends. Zariah's story began long before that July night. She had spent years bouncing between roughly 20 group homes, a product of Arizona's fractured foster care system. Her life was a cycle of instability until she landed at Sunshine Residential, a facility for pregnant teens, where she dreamed of studying forensic law and raising her baby girl, due in October. Those who knew her called her resilient, a bright, brave girl who survived more than most adults ever would. Richland Fox, a former group home manager who becomes Zariah's kinship caregiver, described her as a daughter. She wanted to be a mother, Fox said, but she was afraid because she was a child having a child. That fear was rooted in the man who'd impregnated her, Jarrell Davis, a 36-year-old with a prior conviction for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old when he was 19. Zariah told her caseworker that Davis had coerced her into sex at gunpoint when she was just 15. She reported his threats to the state, but no one intervened in time. On July 4th, when Zariah asked Sunshine Residential for permission to see her boyfriend, Jacree James Gillett, staff denied her request. Instead, they let her go for a walk, a decision that would prove fatal. Surveillance footage showed her climbing into a Chevrolet Equinox driven by Davis, with James Gillett in the passenger seat. It was the last time she was seen alive. What happened next unfolded like a horror film. Zariah's phone pinged near Meriview Park in Phoenix before going dark at 2:30 a.m. A neighbor's camera captured the sound of a gunshot around that time. Yet it took the group home 4 hours to report her missing, and her body lay unidentified in the morgue for days.
16-year-old Zariah Dodd walked out of a group home 1 month ago, but loved ones say she had been through about 20 different homes, moving to the last one back in April due to her pregnancy. According to DCS, there are dozens like her who ran away from a group home.
It's another story that could have been prevented. Group home negligence here in Arizona is a crisis.
Olivia Lemorocco, a spokesperson for Phillips Law Group, sounds off after our reporting on Zariah Dodd's murder. The firm is not associated with Zariah's case, but represents many families who believe their loved ones have been neglected in group homes across Arizona. The 16-year-old was reported as a runaway juvenile by Sunshine Residential in Surprise just after midnight on July 5th, about 4 hours after leaving the group home.
Our stance here is we investigate everything that we can. What has this group home done to prevent something like this from happening? Did they follow all the policies to make sure safety procedures were being followed?
Zariah was 22 weeks pregnant, found shot in the head at Meriview Park in Phoenix on the morning of July 5th. Lemorocco says underage girls living in group homes are vulnerable targets. What are the solutions that need to take place?
The solution is simple. We need better oversight. We need better rules. We need stricter boundaries for people who own and operate group homes.
I reached out to the Department of Child Safety to see how many kids are missing from state custody. As of July 29th, 115 children are listed as missing, abducted, or runaways. 66 of those kids specifically ran away from a group home placement. The founder of Missing in America Network tells me that kids in these situations are simply harder to find.
Once those teens, once those youth, even if they choose to walk away from their homes, even if they're in a great home and they choose to walk away, they're no longer safe once they step out the door.
Davis, meanwhile, spun a web of lies. He admitted to picking Zariah up, but claimed he dropped her and James Gillett at the park, only returning later to find her dead. Forensic evidence told a different story. A Bersa .380 pistol found in Davis's apartment matched the bullet that killed Zariah. A paternity test confirmed he was the father of her unborn child, a fact he'd known for months. The case exposed glaring failures.
Who appeared in front of a judge late Friday night.
There are allegations that you committed murder in the first degree, which is a Class 1 felony.
Davis, who Phoenix police says is the father of Dodd's unborn daughter, is facing 2 counts of first-degree murder charges. Criminal defense attorney Benjamin Taylor says an unborn child often means a harsher penalty.
I mean, with the unborn child, they could either charge the defendant with killing the baby that's unborn and the mother. So basically each count could be 1 count for the mother and 1 count for the unborn child.
Davis is accused of sexual misconduct with a minor in this case. He also pled guilty for impregnating a 14-year-old in 2008 when he was 19 and received probation. Taylor says Davis' record is against him.
When a person has prior convictions on their record, the prosecutor usually aggravates their sentence or even asks for the maximum amount. And here the maximum amount is life in prison or even death.
18-year-old Jacree James Gillett also faces 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder charges for Zariah's death. Taylor says 2 suspects shows more of a plan in the eyes of prosecutors.
First-degree murder means that something's premeditated. It means it's thought out. There was a plan involved, and it wasn't just some last-minute thing. The defendants allegedly planned this out to kill the victim here.
All of these things considered, Taylor says the death penalty isn't off the table.
And because you have a minor, a pregnant minor, this is a very egregious act that was caused here. And so ultimately the prosecutor can even go death penalty in the future if they decide to.
Zariah wasn't his first victim, just the first to die. Prosecutors signaled they might seek the death penalty, citing the egregious nature of killing a pregnant minor. Davis's prior conviction, impregnating a 14-year-old at 19, allowed prosecutors to aggravate his sentence to the maximum, explained attorney Benjamin Taylor. Both suspects face 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 for Zariah, 1 for her unborn child, with Davis additionally charged for sexual misconduct. Sunshine Residential statement, calling Zariah a love member of their program, rang hollow as lawsuits loomed. Taylor noted the home could face child abuse charges if negligence was proven. Meanwhile, Davis's new charges hinted at a broader web of victims, with detectives probing whether Zariah's pending forensic interview in a sexual conduct case was tied to the Avondale girl. At a vigil in Riverview Park, mourners left stuffed animals and candles near the spot Zariah died. Fox, her kinship caregiver, condemned the system. She should have been protected. The case became a rallying cry for reform, with advocates demanding real-time tracking for group home teens and harsher penalties for predators targeting state wards. Yet the most haunting question lingered. How many more Zariahs were out there? The courtroom became a battleground as Davis's predatory history took center stage. Prosecutors revealed he'd violated a protection order by soliciting explicit photos from a 17-year-old Avondale girl, a case eerily parallel to Zariah's. His phone contained trophies, crime scene photos, and messages plotting Zariah's murder, including James Gillett's confession that Davis threatened to kill him if he didn't comply. Arizona's child welfare system faced immediate scrutiny. Legislators proposed real-time GPS tracking for group home teens and mandatory reporting within 30 minutes of a runaway. Advocates like Rhonda DeQuire stress the urgency. These kids vanish because no one watches the doors. Meanwhile, Sunshine Residential's non-restrictive model was overhauled, with DCS auditing all licensed homes. Zariah's story isn't just a true crime tragedy, it's a warning. Over 100 children remain missing in Arizona's system, many from group homes. If her case unsettles you, demand change. Contact Arizona legislators to support stricter group home laws. Donate to organizations like Missing in America Network, which helps locate runaway teens. Share this story. Predators like Davis thrive in silence. Zariah's unborn daughter, Zaloni, never took a breath, but her mother's voice echoes in every reform pushed in her name. As her caregiver, Richland Fox, said, she deserved more than a headline. To those moved by her story, light a candle in her memory. Demand accountability for Arizona's missing foster children. Share her name so her death ignites change. As Fox pointedly said, she was a child failed by many, but her voice now echoes in the fight to protect others. Rest in power, Zariah and Zaloni. Your lives mattered.